I 120% believe that the influx of podcast niggas comes from Clubhouse. Clubhouse has a lot of negative impact on the culture. Somebody asked that I talk about the podcast Negroes, all right? You know what people do? They get them one of these. Do I now look like a podcast person? I too have a Shure mic. So doesn't that mean that I can get on the internet and say really stupid rhetorical things? Can I put myself in an echo chamber of I'm a nigga with a podcast and let's talk about relationships? Honestly, the relationship conversation largely is uninteresting.
Let me ask you a question.
Ask me all the questions.
How is it that you refuse to understand or take any accountability for your behavior when it comes to how we relate to y'all? No, we don't understand y'all. No, we don't like y'all. Yes, y'all are very irritating.
And what the fuck are y'all?
No. This is about men. Don't conflate. I'm sexually attracted to women.
And that's the only thing that there is. So you don't love us. You don't want to be with us. You don't even like us. You just want to fuck us and then you deal with the rest of it. I'm talking about there are men in the world that literally they don't like women. And you
like
can tell.
Women as far as what?
You don't like certain things about women.
That's okay. And I don't like certain things about my other male friends. I don't like certain things about everybody. There are things that we love about women.
You haven't named any. What do men love about women that is not that has nothing to do with their vagina?
Yes, I 120% believe that the influx of podcast niggas comes from Clubhouse. Clubhouse has a lot of negative impact on the culture because they're actually across the board various types of people who were formerly very much so trying to sell you on their wealth aesthetics on Instagram pivoted to the similar format of podcast. So we have the Shure mic. Some of them tend to have different, things. Mine's a little dusty. I might need to get me a new one too, okay? They get the mic. I got the mic, bitch, all right? They get the, you know what? Hey, Google, turn office light blue. Okay, is this enough podcast nigga vibes? Are we doing something? It's red. I have it in the red. That little bit of light. Look, I'm this close to being a podcast nigga. Clubhouse increased the landscape of people that thought podcasting would be worth their while. Honestly, largely, podcasts themselves do not bring in substantial income. But what people can do is clip the sound bites, put them on other platforms, and sell you on their brand at large, that they are worth listening to. I think this is like an extension of like the Black woman empowerment brunch circuit that was very, very heavily selling courses, promoting their events on Instagram and selling you on the aesthetics of wealth. And then Black men started to get into that landscape as well. And then Clubhouse came about. And one thing niggas love to do is hear themselves, but then you have to have things to talk about. And honestly, I don't even know how many of these podcasts people are truly engaging with in the long format that they are put up on like a Spotify or an Apple podcast. Oftentimes, the sound bites are very small segments of the podcast and they're done on purpose. And there is no true dialogue. There is no true engagement that comes out of these conversations. In the clip that I played from the So Shameless podcast, I saw it on Twitter and I immediately recognized that the woman the woman co-host doesn't really have any better politics than the man. But the woman knows her role. And I think this is a very performative aspect of like the podcast, Clubhouse adjacent landscape where sound bites are just being taken from what is overall very silly podcast topics. And she knows she's supposed to argue back. And so it's clear like, oh, I've picked some of this stuff up on social media, like on Twitter and TikTok. You've heard this rhetoric that starts to engage in like a kind of second wave feminism that men don't actually like women. They only are socialized that they are supposed to have sex with women and be partnered with women. But like they don't love women. They actually love each other. They love other men. I think there has to be a lot more contention held with that particular politic. And there has been in the canon of feminism in the academic sense. But people kind of hear that has been reduced in some way on TikTok, and that's what they regurgitate, that men don't really love women, you don't really want women, you don't really like women, because you have not really held contention. You have not really thought, processed, comprehended, engaged deeply, critically with this theory. You're simply repeating something you've heard elsewhere, and the politic goes nowhere. The fact that that 60-second snippet doesn't really have any tangible argument from the woman co-host is unfortunate, because it's a really easy question to push back against if you really want to interrogate this idea of like him repositioning this common reframe of Black women are not held accountable, which is what these men are often. You women can't deal with people being critical of you. You women are not listening to the criticisms that my audience has of you. It all kind of feeds back into this Black women are not held accountable. I think it's such drivel. That's where it's going. Maybe we should look at some of the other Black podcasts that are posted up on TikTok.
Stop lying. Y'all lying. Probably 50% good coochie in.
There's no such thing as bad coochie.
Yeah, it is.
No, that's mid. Mid is never bad.
True. I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
All coochie starts off as good. Now you gotta get to the different levels.
And you know, tell you funny, because somebody's probably gonna watch this and be like, the reason the coochie probably bad is because you probably didn't turn her on. No.
Just like some people were born with little things.
Exactly.
You be born with some mid coochie.
But
that's when you gotta go ahead and learn how to do the Gawk 3000 to make up for that.
Everybody's not, that's a specific skill that everybody's not.
They should be exempt from taxes.
The Gawk 3000, that's where that
I pay bills because of that.
If we wanted to talk about there's no such thing as bad pussy, maybe we should talk about like the hyperfixation in rap music on self-validation through pussy politics. And yes, the academic who came up with that theory is Marilyn Fry, and her book is The Politics of Reality. And I think it's a very surface level sort of plucking of the theory she presents in that book. And more of these podcasts, because the Black men are hearing, I don't want to be talked to like you're niggas with podcasts, you don't have anything to say. So they are including women. A lot more women are being included in this podcast. But I think it's a very specific type of woman that's being engaged. And oftentimes these sound bites are not even suggesting that the podcast is worth listening to. It's, can I get an audience that's going to follow me on social media? Yeah, if you want to listen to the podcast, sure. Here's a podcast post that I really appreciate. And I actually think Shaq's response to the Ime situation also speaks to a lot of the politics that these men on podcasts are holding when it comes to seeing women essentially as a commodity. This wanting to hold on to a patriarchal lens of like how relationships should function. And what's interesting to me, the way that sort of like the divester femininity hypergamy community is very antagonistic towards the manosphere and like the Kevin Samuel community. But their politics align with each other. In that if you believe that Black women have to do all this, we all do need to do self-reflection. That's actually not a bad thing to say. But that we need to pick better partners that are making more money. In order to be able to do that picking, we need to, not be fat, to look very feminine. We need to feed into, quiet luxury aesthetics, very traditional norms of femininity, doing all the things those girls in those TikTok videos did, even though they kept it. Hey, he might have been a high value man to her. He was flying her out, buying her diamonds and paying for her Red Lobster, okay? But their politics align with the men who are on these podcasts now saying that if you want me to pay bills, if you want me to be a provider, if you want me to provide you with a soft life, you need to be coming to the table with these particular things that I have reduced you to. Good pussy, good head, pretty to look at, and you know how to shut up and not challenge me. I don't think they understand that their politics overlap. And honestly, in the end, that's why we get all these very lonely people, because the overall messaging, though, is, especially for the Black woman side of it, is I'm not invested in community. I'm divesting from community, and I'm going to get what's best for me individually. And it's like, you could never truly divest from being perceived as a Black woman in this world and all the things that come with that. So good luck doing that on your own. But Shaq's response, I think, kind of speaks to all of them, even though he's particularly talking about Ime. But let's play it.
I was a serial cheater. It would be crazy and blasphemous for me to get up here and say, boom, boom, bam. I can't do that. But I'm never the guy that's going to get up here because of my platform and fake it. I did it. I was the best at it. I'm not proud of it. I lost my family doing it. I lost valuable, important years with my children from doing it. So I refuse to get up here. You shouldn't have did this. You shouldn't have did that. I'm not that guy. I'm real with the situation. But to answer your question, no, it is not worth it. But let me tell you why. The happiest days of my life were coming home and hearing 6 different people say, Daddy, Daddy, that happiest days of my life. Forget the money, forget the cars, even forget the championship, especially when they were little and 2 and 3 and didn't really care that I missed 10, 15 free throws. They wait up for me after games and, Daddy, can we go to Universal? Those are the best days of my life. When I lost those, I'm not going to use the D word because I know a lot of people are suffering with that, but I was all the way down. And sometimes I'm still all the way down, especially when I was in my house in Orlando, which is 70,000 square feet, in there by myself.
Right.
Nobody. Like, I built a house for the kids, gym, game room, pool house, this and that, guest house for the mom and all that. When I lost that by being stupid, it killed me. So to answer your question, no, it's not worth it.
I think that's from a very salient perspective from Shaquille O'Neal. This sort of cheating and this sort of thought process of like, you own the women and the women in your life have to be showing up in very transactional ways, and that you deserve the right to exercise your power in this means leaves you very lonely in the end. You lose such valuable time with the people that are meant to be with you for a lifetime. And it is very unfortunate. These guys on the podcast should check it out.